excited to join you at Luxembourg Internet Days and to speak to you today about quantum threats and opportunities. Ben and I both work at Accenture Labs, and with that, we have our eyes on the future. We try to be 3 to 5 years out, using applied research and emerging technologies to solve some of the hardest cybersecurity problems. In our 2017 Security Tech Vision, Rethinking Foundations, we started talking about the potential threats from quantum. And we followed on and did a deep dive in this piece called Cryptography in a Post-Quantum World. And we're going to share with you some of our thinking on quantum, and we're going to look forward to some of the opportunities with quantum. Ben, over to you.
All right. So are you ready for this slide? So there's a reason for the red lights. We have hazards ahead.
So share how quantum breaks some of the fundamentals in our cryptos and tell us about these hazards. Something about Shor and Grover.
Yep, so those are the two primary hazards that people are talking about. So with Shor's, it's also known as a factoring algorithm created by Peter Shor, and it uses a period function with quantum Fourier transforms. This is a fancy way to say that it's able to break the encryption on RSA and some curve cryptography. So then we have Grover's algorithm, which uses a quantum oracle to find a record in very large databases in a single try. So what this means is things were previously had like rainbow tables and trillions of records that were really resistant to brute forcing with cryptographic hashes are now vulnerable. And we also have, speaking of another hazard, nation states. So nation states are attacking our crypto, and they're attacking it through policy and what standards are created.
Wait a minute. I thought they were attacking the math. What do you mean policies and standards?
Because they want to affect what standards we settle on for the crypto strength through policies, such as influencing standards that are created, like picking the weakest tech, or the implementation, such as dumbing down the strength of the crypto, like very small bit links, and the requirements around what hardware and its associated policies. We also believe they are collecting all of our data they can find right now. So when they do have a quantum computer able to break those codes, they will have our whole data history.
Wait, so they're vacuuming up, or should I say Dysoning up, all of our data, all of our conversations, all of our traffic and communications on the internet, and they store it away until they have the capability to unlock it?
Yep, they will have the keys to your data in the future when they want to focus on their attacks on your data. And another thing to keep in mind with crypto is that we know that hardware matters. So we've seen where these nation states have been able to possibly add implants or backdoors to cryptographic hardware, and we need that cryptographic hardware trusted and free of backdoors. And this is a very complex supply chain issue. It's very bespoke, and it's incredibly specialized. And speaking of hardware, you don't even need supercomputers anymore, where there's this new technology called FPGA and ASIC, where they can create specialized circuits that can, instead of being less general compute, they're focused on breaking codes. And the threats to crypto are not just quantum. We have AI and machine learning assisted attacks. For example, we got fuzzing. So fuzzing, they're able to find vulnerabilities or flaws or weaknesses in the software implementation and the hardware implementation of our crypto algorithms. So, and then to get a little wild, we're starting to see combinations of quantum and ML together in a neuromorphic system where the system self-configures to be extremely efficient at attacking our classical cryptography. So are you worried yet?
I'm worried. I'm very worried. So I have to worry about quantum. I have to worry about the standards being strong enough. I have to worry about bespoke hardware implementations through ASICs and FPGAs that can apparently do a lot right now. And also the combination of ML and AI against this. Our cryptography seems pretty vulnerable. So how do we navigate the hazards?
Well, we'll need to have crypto agility.
Crypto agility, I thought it was set in stone, and our algorithms were supposed to last for decades, which I guess we just figured out they don't.
Yeah. So this crypto agility, also known as cryptographic agility, that's where you can quickly change your processes and technology around cryptography.
And so what does that mean?
Well, like being agile and nimble, maybe kind of like this dancer with the purple lights.
And why is that agility so important if we just get to the right algorithm?
Well, we currently don't know what the right algorithm is, when we don't know what the finish line is either. So because there's no perfect implementation yet, we don't know which way to go. So to put this in perspective, imagine you spend a long, intensive product modernizing your cryptography to a new standard, and it takes several months. And then after you finish, it turns out that some hackers have figured out how to break that cryptography. So you're going to have to go and repeat that whole progress all over again to upgrade again.
Yeah, and then we're in real trouble because we would have just spent all of our budget for that one upgrade, and it's no longer a viable solution, and we have no happy purple swirly lights.
That's right. And there's also the uncertainty of these new standards. So we're not absolutely sure that lattices or these rings with errors or super isogenies are going to be quantum proof. And some of these algorithms aren't fully ready to integrate with all our different technologies. And then there's the timing to integrate, which there's a lot of uncertainty in the air. And most importantly, we have the emerging technology risks. That's from that previous hazard slide. We know they're coming, but we can't exactly predict when exactly they come. But we do know that they will disrupt the effectiveness of our current cryptography. And that's why we need to start thinking of our cryptography in a modular way.
Yeah, so what do you mean by modular? What does that look like?
Well, a good example of something modular is Lego bricks, right? They're pretty simple. You can slap them together, pop them apart, stack them. You can do what you want at will, and each place is replaceable and changeable.
Yeah, so I love Legos, so I get that analogy. And then why is that modularity or that ability to snap them in and out important?
So imagine if you didn't have Lego bricks and you had to rebuild a building and you had to move it and reconstruct it with real bricks. And I don't know about you, but I can't pull apart bricks by hand and rebuild them like Legos.
Okay, so we re-architect and we pull the cryptographic functions out of the apps and make it a service. And so we should be thinking about cryptography as a service that we call through an API. Is that
Yeah,
the idea?
yeah, that's a good example. So one leader that we're looking at is Microsoft. Their next generation cryptographic API is a good standard to look at because they have something that's modular and extensible. And we want something that we can readily change because cryptography change is going to become like the new refresh and you're going to have to constantly do it. So it's going to be the new normal.
Yeah, and as you say that, I think we also need to think about the compatibility needs throughout the journey. What encryption mechanisms do we need to support to maintain the business ecosystems and processes we have? Because not everybody's going to be on the journey at the same speed.
Yeah, and we need to start sharing with third parties and ecosystem partners why we need everyone to be planning for safer encryption methods.
Great. So now let's look at the positive side of things, not just the threats. So no more hazards, no more red lights. What opportunities can quantum offer us?
Yeah, quantum computing isn't all bad news for cryptography. In fact, there's a lot of unique quantum mechanical properties we can use to our advantage. One of them is quantum randomness. So quantum random number generators can make this beautiful randomness, right? And it's really beautiful because it's symmetrical and it's spinning and it's superpositions. And that impacts how the qubit operates. And the qubits are more than just classical bits, which are just 1 or 0. It's a probabilistic vector space of 1 and 0 and some very fancy math that describes its wave function.
Yeah, so what that means is we could achieve true randomness with quantum. And random is the fuel for all cryptographic key, and true random is hard to find. So quantum random generators are being used right now to improve the quality of our current cryptographic methods. And quantum key distribution, another feature of quantum, allows us to exchange symmetric keys, keys that match, that are resistant to quantum attack. Once the qubits are read, they're forever changed. You get one peek at the key.
Yeah, So I like to think of that one peak as kind of like in those spy movies like Mission Impossible, where that message would self-destruct after it was read once. So every quantum message would self-destruct after reading and protect the secret information inside. So you could be, too, like Tom Cruise with quantum. And we're also starting to see some quantitative analysis from industries piloting quantum computing to accelerate different kind of simulations that calculate risk. Something like the Monte Carlo simulations, which tap into the strength of quantum processing.
Yeah, and I think there's so much about quantum processing that we're going to continue to learn as we have new discoveries. So let's look at some of those future predictions. There are a lot of things we expect from quantum. And so we all agree quantum is cool, right? And I'll tell you why, because it's operating at negative 270 degrees Celsius. That's cool. But we're going to start seeing the conversion to hot qubits that will operate at warmer temperatures. And this is going to increase the availability and the power of quantum for us to be cool, like Mission Impossible. What else will we see, Ben?
We're also expecting to see new quantum carrier channels. So what I mean is a channel that can take those qubits out of the freezer so they can fly. So once you have flying qubits, then you can have something like a quantum internet. And a quantum internet would drastically change everything we do from cryptography and information sharing. And it may also change what we expect to see in the future in regards to math and quantum. New algorithms, in addition to Shors and Grovers, will be able to attack cryptography in new ways.
And I love thinking about the new math, or maybe we should say number theory.
Yeah, with there might even be some Newton Einstein living in Luxembourg right now who may come up with some new math or algorithms and even quantum physics with the help of quantum computers. Only time will tell.
And also, speaking about time, unlike the freshness dates of our groceries, our crypto will just spoil. It will just be broken and obsolete without warning. So there won't be a nice expiration date that we all drive through to change over before it gets all lumpy and sour.
Yeah, no one wants sour and lumpy gross crypto.
No, they don't. And with the tipping point of nation state capability, the game will be over and your cards are going to be on the table and visible.
So if you're not planning for change to quantum resistant cryptography or quantum safe cryptography or even post quantum cryptography, you should start. You're behind in the race.
Yeah, and this is a hard race because you may not have the quantum cryptography skills because these are pretty precious skills in the marketplace. And you may need to partner with someone, a trusted partner that does have the skills and the depth. But for each of us today, we have some homework. And the first thing you want to do is go back to your businesses and check your current cryptography and see where you have opportunities to double the key links where possible.
Yep. And then next, you'll want to perform a crypto agility proof of concept to demo it in your own environment.
And as we talked about, you're going to want to re-architect now for that modularity, those Lego bricks we talked about. You're going to want to make sure your cryptographic functions are as a service and readily swappable.
And then finally, you'll want to upgrade to a post-quantum cryptography algorithms where possible after doing an audit and assessment in your environment.
Yeah, and as I shared, finding a trusted partner is important. And I would encourage everyone to explore Accenture's Crypto Agility Accelerator Service offerings. It'll get you started on your crypto journey and thinking about your plan. Well, we've really had fun today. I hope you've enjoyed this too, and we look forward to the rest of a great Luxembourg Internet Days. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.